This podcast is brought to you by you, the listener. Thank you so much. And here we are with another podcast for you to help get you through this cold weather or boring work schedules or whatever you happen to be doing. 11 years later and now 547 episodes since we began this journey. We're still here for you, putting out content every week, and I know that you guys are here for us as well. If you want to support the podcast, you can always help us out. There's so many ways you can do it. You can head over to our website, aaapodcast.com/join, or Patreon. Throw us a couple bucks, and we will be throwing you 8 additional exclusive podcast episodes every week to help you, or every month rather, just to help you out, to say thank you for being great fans and great anime addicts and contributing to the podcast. If you don't want to subscribe, you can head over to our website. Just click the donate button, and every little bit is helpful. And you know what? If you got nothing to throw our way, that's totally fine. We still want you to listen, and we love you. You could always leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and if you've already done that, then, well, we're just happy to have you here with us, and we'll make sure together that this podcast continues to be commercial-free just for you. So head over to our website, aaapodcast.com/join, help us out, and we'll continue to make that anime addiction worse. And now, time to start the show.
You are listening to an extra spooky episode of the Anime Addicts Anonymous podcast. Make your candy addiction worse at aaapodcast.com. Happy Halloween!
My name is Mason, and there is no way that I'm going to live up to how great that intro was. So I'm just going to get right to introducing my co-host. We've got Mitsugi, the Soundmaster genius over there. How's it going, my guy?
You know what? I was trying to decide what kind of air instrument to play during that very Disgaea sounding Halloween song. I was like, there's some accordion in there. I don't know what the hell was going on. Listen, guys, Mitsugi here. There's nothing scarier than an almost fully consumed Monster Energy drink by the beginning of the podcast. Real problems. So I had to go downstairs and fill it with water. So, it's a little watered down, but, I'm here. I'm amped up. Let's get this thing rolling. Gonna be a little spooky today, but mostly spoopy, I think. Not too spooky. Spoopy, not too spooky.
You should have been playing, Mitz, is the theremin. You know what the theremin is? It's the spookiest instrument of all time. Look it up if you haven't. It's straight up magic. No one knows how it works.
There's definitely harpsichord in here, and I could play that, so we'll just roll with that. I don't know what I'll look it up.
Look it up. It's wild. And the other co-host we have with us is Mandi. How is it going?
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here for a special Halloween episode. I do have a question before we start, though. Is that new, that Yurie, that new recording, or have we had that?
It is not new. It's just played so seldomly that it sounds new.
Have we ever asked Yurie what her favorite, our voice actress, what her favorite Halloween show was?
I mean, somewhere in this massive list of audio files from the soundboard, there is, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna play a drop. We can just roll. Let's see what we get.
The best anime to watch on Halloween? I guess go to the classics. Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Bingo.
Could be the best.
I remember this now.
Or Ghibli's Spirited Away. Sento Chihiro no Kamikakushi could be another classic to watch.
Yeah, she's so cute.
You're right. I do remember this.
Oh, that's not right.
Happy Halloween.
There you go.
That's top tier taste. But all of us are here today to make your spooky anime addiction even worse. You can find us on Twitch, where we stream this live Sundays at 5 p.m. EDT, so you can jump in the chat and talk about all the spookiness that we're going to be sharing with you. You can also follow us on Facebook and join our ever-growing Discord, which is the most happening, coolest, reddest place to be. This also is the last call for the pumpkin carving contest. The next time you hear an episode, the submission deadline will be closed and we will be announcing the winners. So you have one more week. October 31st is the last day to submit on Twitter, on Facebook, on whatever you want, your anime carved pumpkin. We'd love to see it, and you can win fabulous prizes for doing so. But as you might have guessed, this episode we will be having our autumnal anime, essentially talking about anime that we recommend for Halloween and just the fall season in general, as well as our fall 2020 anime impressions from the season. We have Strike Witches, we have Akudama Drive, we have Wandering Witch, we have Kuma Bear, we have
Oh, man.
Noblesse.
Jeez, that's a lot of Kumas.
And the Kuma keeps getting longer every time
It's-
we
it's
say
like-
the title.
It's like banana. Like, I don't know when to stop with the A's and the N's. It just keeps on rolling. And
Ha,
we have
Ha!
Jujutsu
Kuma wins.
Kaisen as a jam-packed episode for you today. So with that, do you guys have anything else before we kick it off?
Listen, I just want to say happy Halloween, guys. Enjoy it. You know, carve pumpkins, have as much fun as you can. Get together with friends and watch a Halloween movie. You know, make some Halloween cookies. They sell amazing Halloween cookies at like slice and bake ones, even at like Kroger. You know, just have a lot of fun. And you know, you only get so many Halloweens. You know, and just take the time to enjoy it. So we're having a blizzard here in Colorado. It's literally like 4 inches of snow just today alone. So I don't know how much we're going to be doing, but have fun, everybody. Enjoy your Halloween.
おー、大ニュースです。It's time for big news of the week.
Well, perhaps the scariest thing of all is the fake burger. An all-new Japanese Burger King. Japan is always doing these wild foods. Like, it's almost like no matter what time you go to Japan, there will be something strange for you to try at a Burger King. Burger King does a lot of this, and McDonald's too. I remember when I got the Squid Ink burger bun. It was like a black bun. I was like, what is this? It doesn't have any particular additional flavor, but it was weird. For Halloween, they did that. So they have the all-new fake burger. I was gonna get some photos of this for Twitch, but you know, I guess I was lazy and forgot. But if you look it up online, you can find it. And there were promotional images that came out of a burger with like the inside of it blurred out with mosaic, so you couldn't see what was on the burger. And then they revealed it recently. Turns out that the burger itself is actually a French fry burger. So it's like a bun with steak cut French fries in it, slathered with meat sauce that Burger King says is 100% beef, which honestly doesn't sound too bad to me. And then a mayo spread, priced at an unbelievably reasonable $2.75 US, which is like the cheapest burger ever because it has no friggin' burger patty on it. And you have to imagine the burger patty is probably the bulk of the the expense. And then for those of you that just can't get enough French fries, you can get a combo meal with either more fries or chili fries in case you didn't get enough meat fry combo on your burger. So you can literally have fries with meat on top, and then a side of fries with meat on top, with the fake burger at Burger King. Now I'm gonna ask the Twitch audience and both you guys, would you eat the fake burger at Burger King for the probably $3 after tax?
No, I wouldn't.
Oh,
I don't really like burgers anyways, though, so...
But there's
I
no
don't-
burger.
It's not a
on the
burger though.
No, I don't even remember the last time I ate fast food, so no, I'm good.
I mean, I
Wow.
don't know why I would eat it, but I definitely would. I mean, it's a bunch of French fries. How can you go wrong? So I got a question for you, Mitz. Then,
Okay.
how many fries? Say you go to McDonald's or Burger King or your favorite fast food burger establishment. How many
Sonic,
fries
probably.
do you eat at once? Do you take one at a time? Do you double up? Do you just grab a whole mouthful and just what's your fry eating technique? While we're just going off on tangents today.
I'm gonna post an image in the Twitch while we're bullshitting about this. So I mean, listen, it's never one at a time ever. Okay, that's it. First of all, it just takes too long. I'm hungry. You know, I'm trying to go whole ham on this there we go. Here's the image right here for you guys on Twitch. So I'm trying to go whole ham on this pile of fries. So I'm taking it I'll stick all 5 fingers in there, and I'll grab as many as my grubby little mitts can grab in my fingers. Like, I'm not going to full fist it, But if we're talking like McDonald's, I'm probably eating 8 to 10 fries at once.
Okay, so this is right up your alley, which is just putting the fries in a package where you can consume them quickly.
I mean, honestly, like the problem with this burger is that I would eat it for sure, and I'm assuming you would too, Mason.
Oh yeah. I mean, why wouldn't I? I don't think I'd like it. I don't think I'd recommend it, but
Well,
got to give it a shot.
I have a question.
Mhm.
One, why is it censored out on
Because
the
it's
picture?
very
Is it
funny.
a hentai burger?
It was supposed to be like mysterious. They're trying to make it
Is
like
it? Oh, okay.
it's like they've done this a lot in Japan. Like they had the Attack on Titan burger at Burger King, which was like they put a paper sleeve over the burger that was shaped like the giant Titan's face, and it was about 6 inches tall, and you didn't know what was in it for like the longest time. And then when it finally came out, they revealed that it was literally like 6 beef patties stacked up, and then like the entire height of the wrapper. So like, I don't know, it's just one of these gimmicks like that they do. So, but honestly, I would try this burger, but I don't think you could be full on it for more than about half an hour. I mean, it's just carbohydrates, so you'd probably get hungry again really quickly, which would leave me probably going, for food again. So, but hey, fuck it. I would eat the fake burger. Shit. I eat the damn squid ink. I eat the squid ink burger. Come on, man. It's a squid ink.
Whenever we do news, Mason and I are like, here's all this anime news. Mitz is like, fuck that. Let me just, I have to report on this burger.
To be fair, Mitz does do the news break, so he's sick of all this
That's true.
mainstream media news with anime releases and studio news. Nah, this is Burger City 101, and you're getting the highway of
Hey, listen,
information.
Listen, this is Japanese news, right? So, hey.
Hey, it's all good.
Hey, shit. I'm always here to throw a curveball in your day.
We appreciate it. Mandy, what news did you find interesting this week?
First, I want to make an edit to my last week because I accidentally said that Fist of the North Star was the manga was coming to English for the first time. I was wrong. I apologize. It was pointed out to me. I guess I just assumed because the news article said new releases. So I was like, oh, it must be new. It was not brand new. I do apologize. And you know what? I'm not an expert. I make mistakes.
Yeah, how? we're all human.
First time in our lifetimes because it was
it's not even in print anymore. So.
It's been out for so long that essentially this is the first chance people are going to get this manga, and yeah.
Yeah, but my first one is that Netflix is entering a partnership with a number of anime studios, including NAS, Science Saru, and MAPPA. And their other recent partnership with Production IG, Wood Studio, and Bones brought us stuff like Hisone Tomaso-tan, I think that's how you say it, The Great Pretender, and Carolyn Tuesdays. So I don't know how I feel. I think a lot of Netflix shows look and do really well, but it also, I don't know, there's something about it that makes me a little iffy on it because we had that recent news article that was about how Netflix putting more money into the anime industry is not going down to the animators. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see what comes out of it though.
Quick tangent.
Sorry.
There was a news article that the second half of Great Pretender is coming out November 25th. So people who've been waiting for the second half of that, you're about a month away.
That's awesome because I'm really enjoying that show so far. I've only watched what is out on Netflix. I didn't go anywhere else to find the rest of it yet. So that's exciting.
Yeah, the production those production committees are just like a vacuum for money. It's like no matter how much money they throw at the friggin' anime industry, the stupid committees are just gonna suck it all up like a sponge. So
yeah, and
it's very frustrating.
It's good for we're gonna get some good anime out of it, but it's just really sad as well. That we know that the people who are working on it are not getting anything else out of it. So I don't know. It's just really sad. It
kind of smacks of corruption, to be honest. That's how I feel. But I don't know. I'm not really that intimately acquainted with the situation. So
yeah, neither am I. I'm not an expert on it. It's just all the news that we've seen recently. It just makes me kind of I want to be excited, but also that's kind of sad. Also, Viz Media, if you have been watching any of their like the anime adaptations of any of their stuff on their website, now they are removing them. Like before, you could watch them for free. Like the Viz Media website had stuff like One Punch Man, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Naruto, and other ones that are like under their license, and you could watch them for free. But they decided they're not doing that anymore, and they're pointing people instead to Crunchyroll, Funimation, Hulu, Netflix, and so on and so on. I think that's a real shame, especially for people who like can't afford to subscribe to anywhere. Like, I don't know, it really sucks that now they can't, watch the stuff for free on their website. But I just thought I'd throw that out there in case you were someone who watched stuff on their website. But unfortunately, it's going to go away.
Is this going to contribute to piracy, Mandy?
Probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Like I am someone who I put a lot of money. Like, I guess I always support things legally because I can. But there's a lot of people out there who can't do that, and it makes me really sad for those people. Like, they should also have a way to watch stuff as well. So it's sad, but.
Do you know when that's going away?
I'm not sure. I didn't see a date on there. Is it the 23rd? Oh, maybe it was 2 days ago.
Yeah, I don't really know. It's a shame, though.
I'm sorry, the news article came out on the 23rd, but it doesn't have a date on there when it's going to happen.
Gotcha. I'm just expecting someone to be on like episode 14 of Naruto, like, oh
I know.
shoot, I gotta get through 700 episodes in the next.
Jesus.
You better start.
Gotta start now. Any second, it could be gone, my dude. My two news stories that I got. Obviously the quick one is Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3, and an OVA has been announced, and everyone is not surprised, and simultaneously everyone is excited because it's great and we're hyped for it. So OVA will come out in 2021. No date yet for Season 3, but that's fine. The other news article is Mamoru Hosoda, the famed director, has completed storyboards for his next movie, and his studio Chizu is about to begin full-fledged production. And, not sure what it's about, when it's going to come out, but this really reminded me and kind of brought to my attention how damn prolific Hosoda has been. Essentially every 3 years he's come out with a movie. You have The Girl That Leapt Through Time, then you have Summer Wars, then Wolf Children, then The Boy and the Beast, and then Mirai. That's 5 movies over 15 years, which is really darn impressive for how much work and like effort goes into making a movie. So yes, a shame that this is the first time he's probably going to miss that 3-year cycle. Kind of understandable, and just kind of reminiscing on how kind of grateful we should be that he was so prolific for so long. So I don't know if you guys had any strong opinions on Hosoda's movies and thoughts, but I'm excited to see what he has in the future.
I mean,
there's a lot of them I haven't seen, but I still love Wolf Children and Summer Wars. Both of those were my favorites. I haven't seen Mirai, and I actually never seen Boy and the Beast. I should do that. But Wolf Children, Summer Wars are great, and I love them.
How about you, Mitch?
There's been precedents set here by other great directors, and I don't know if Hosoda is like any of a man that's about like his legacy as a film creator, he's got some precedents here set by other creators in the past. Namely, currently Makoto Shinkai comes out with a film like every couple years now, and Miyazaki, who I think even worked on a faster timeline than that for a while on 2 different stretches. I mean, you had a Miyazaki film in 86, 89. 86, 88, and 89, so 3 in a row there. 92, 95, 97, 2001. So I don't know if it's an aggressive film schedule, but that's kind of the way it is with like these great creators. Like they're putting out a movie like every 2 to 3 years. I don't know how the hell they do that. I don't know.
Wild.
I don't know how you go from like. I guess they're probably conceptualizing the next film while they're like producing the current film. Because I don't know how you could go from like I had a thought in a bathtub one day to, literally putting something on the screen in just 2 years. It just doesn't seem possible.
I could see like writers starting a next work while their like current one is in like production, but like directors have to oversee so much of it and have a hand in so many pots that I can't imagine them being like, hey, I have to do my second work like on the side. Like that seems absurd. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea what we're gonna get. His styles have been all over the place, from family dramas to I guess they've always had that like family charm to them at their core. But Girl Who Leapt Through Time was more sci-fi. I mean, Wolf Children was definitely more bittersweet about being an adult. Like Mirai was a different like children's side. There's so many different tastes. So I have no idea what we're in for, but I don't know. I'm excited.
I have some catching up to do on Hosoda movies, because I think out of the 5 on this list here, I've only seen 2 of them. So, and Girl Who Leapt Through Time was so long ago that I honestly don't remember much about it, other than like the character design. So
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a really long time either. I've seen it, but it has been many years.
It's 15 years old, so I mean, it's yeah. So I don't know. I got some ground to make up here, so one of these days I'll get around to it, I'm sure. And if it comes to theaters, though, I know I'll go see it, because we love going to the movie theater. So, all right. Anything else, guys?
Nah, I think we can jump to our main topic, which is good Halloween for autumn and/or Halloween. So
You mean anime?
Good anime.
Good
Good
anime.
Halloween.
good Halloween for Halloween. You know what's a good a good festival for this season is? Halloween. It really goes well with the Halloween spirit, I
Halloween
think.
is, great for Halloween. Yes.
Good season for anime. Let's talk about what seasons are good, all of them. But specifically for the idea of fall, when the leaves start changing, when the mood becomes a little more solemn and dapper, and just you have no idea what you're gonna get. It's a strange season, so these are some strange series that we thought we'd recommend for the times. So who wants to kick it off?
I think let's just round robin here on the order that we have it on the document. It's pretty tough to come up with horror anime. Halloween in general hasn't been popular in Japan until recently, and so it's not like Halloween themed anime are on the forefront of, really there aren't any. Like there are anime that have Halloween like design influences, I would say. Maybe like Soul Eater, for example. But
And episodes. There's a lot with Halloween episodes, but not like based on
Yeah.
Halloween.
so your best bet is, coming up with shows that are just kind of spooky or have some like light influences. It's not the best show in the world by any stretch, but the Junji Ito collection came out a few years ago, and it was pretty creepy. I put this more on like the scary side of things. Like it'll definitely creep you out. It might lure you into a position of getting some of the Junji Ito manga, which are honestly a lot, from my experience, my limited experience, a lot better than the anime.
yeah.
And nothing's gonna fuck your day up more than sitting in like a dark room with a candle and like an apple cider and reading like Spiral or whatever. And that's gonna creep your shit out on a Halloween night. But the Junji Ito collection, influenced by that, definitely some creepy imagery. And outside of the obvious, I don't think any of us put the obvious like stuff on here. Like I don't think anybody put down like Magnetic Rose or anything like that. But so, if you're looking for other horror shows other than like super obvious things, you're gonna want to jump at something like Junji Ito collection for your horror fix.
Yeah, I don't think anyone put down stuff like. Well, I have a couple on here that are kind of obvious. But my first one, of course, guys, like Mononoke, of course, is like the best Halloween show for me. And also, I guess to go along with it, the Ayakashi samurai horror stories.
No way!
Is also so good. I will sing praises to Mononoke all the time.
It is really good.
Yeah, and I mean, I've already talked about it enough, but our listeners are probably tired of me talking about it. But yeah, it's all the stories, despite like how colorful it is, are really creepy and really get you thinking too. So I will always recommend Mononoke. It's one of my favorites.
My
It's
favorite.
default.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite of the 3 Ayakashi stories is actually the second one, which I think is probably uncommon.
More
but
so than the one with Kusuriyuri at the end, like the Bakeneko.
I mean, I like Bakeneko too. I just something about the demon siren people in the castle. I don't know. I just really enjoyed it. They're all great. I mean, and they're all so different, and they're animated totally differently. So Ayakashi, like, it's never going to, for some reason, it just doesn't have, like, good praise online. But so I feel like people don't watch it, but it's fucking good. People should.
Yeah. I was thinking about this when we were trying to find manga for Halloween, for our Halloween manga club. Like, I don't know why horror in anime and manga just I don't know, there's just something about it just doesn't do well. Like, some of them are, really well known, like Junji Ito collection, the Drifting Classroom. Both are very creepy, but like, there's so few of them though. And the ones that like the horror stories that are very well known are more like action than like like your creepy kind of ghost stories. So I don't know, but if you don't know what that is, the Ayakashi Samurai Horror Stories, I don't know if that's streaming anywhere legally, unfortunately.
I wouldn't count on it.
But the last story in that collection is the Bake Neko arc, which is where Mononoke spawned off of. They took that one and was like, let's make a whole like 12 episode series on that one alone. So, but Mononoke is available on Crunchyroll. Don't get it mixed up with Princess Mononoke. Completely different. But I do highly recommend checking it out.
Yeah. My first one I want to talk about is House of Five Leaves. This is kind of like my default of the fall season, not so much because it's spooky, but just it has that atmosphere, and it's an absolute gem of a show. This is a like samurai version of Aka 13. It's got a lot of adult characters in it, and it's essentially about a ronin who is hired to be this imposing bodyguard, but he's so timid and shy that he keeps on getting fired because he looks like such a pushover. He kind of gets involved with this group of bandits, and then you get a lot of these somber, methodical episodes. And it's really good. It's done by Studio Manglobe, who is always pumping out very interesting, unique works until they went into bankruptcy. But nonetheless, it's got a distinct art style and just oozes that fall season. It's got a lot of falling leaves, so it's really good, and I like it a lot. And Natsume Ono is based, and you should check it out.
Chat's making fun of the way I say horror. Look, I'm sorry. Sometimes I mess up my words, and it just came out horror. I'm sorry. Horror anime.
Oh my! But it sounds like you're saying. I'm just saying it sounds like you're saying horror.
Horror. I'll try to I don't know, fix my words. I'm sorry.
As we speak, I am on the Krispy Kreme website ordering a dozen of the Halloween-themed donuts. Listen, people, that fucking place is a madhouse. If you want donuts on Halloween that look like Frankenstein and it look like that look, if you want a jelly-filled donut that looks like Dracula, you're gonna have to go to the freaking website and order. We are not sponsored by Krispy Kreme, but they are delicious. So,
how often you try to push their donuts? We should be sponsored by them.
We should be sponsored by Monster.
Monster, what the heck?
I was gonna say the sugar rush between Krispy Kreme and Monster is alone to kill a man, but somehow Mitz can withstand it all.
Listen, Monster only cares about like dirt bike riders, like doing jumps off ramps and shit. They don't care about anything else. So I don't know. They don't give a shit. They're too busy like wallpapering in their corporate building and like gold leaf and $100 bills. So
come on, podcasting isn't extreme enough for you. Come on, Monster. Give us the Monster bucks. We want them.
Monster bucks.
All right. My next one here on the list is Devilman Crybaby. If you haven't watched Devilman Crybaby on Netflix, this is more of a Halloween-y thriller. I'd call it a thriller. Very violent. I mean, you're going to have to be okay with like R-rated material to watch Devilman Crybaby, so no like 6-year-old little sister hanging around. But I mean, aside from being like probably maybe the best anime that came out in that year, it's just a fantastic show, and a lot of people have Netflix, and it's probably just sitting there waiting for you right now. Like, what Netflix has like 100 million subscribers in like the U.S. alone or something ridiculous. So chances are you've got it. And I mean, you could just turn the lights off, get some popcorn, and watch some creepy ass wild shit with Devilman Crybaby on Halloween right from Netflix, free of cost. And it's also like dubbed, so you don't have to worry about reading subtitles. Pretty comfy to watch, not that long. And I think we'll all agree that Devilman Crybaby was pretty phenomenal. I know a lot of people have seen it, but I know there's a few listeners out there that haven't. So
The most recent remake, not the original. Just to clarify.
yeah, the Crybaby off of is the original on Netflix?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't imagine, but I'll look it up.
no, it's probably not. It just the Devilman Crybaby that came out on Netflix is great. So it's
Mhm.
it'll it's not really a horror show either, but you know, you take what you can get with anime. It's not really we're not exactly printing horror shows left and right here for anime. So
Yeah, not all of the stuff on my list would be considered horror. They're just kind of like shows that have a I don't know, like something Halloween-ish about it.
right,
Some
exactly.
of mine are really cute, so. Speaking of, my first cute one, which I just absolutely adore, Flying Witch. And this one, of course, not horror or spooky. It's actually just a slice of life about a girl who goes to a like rural area, and she is a witch, and she's living with a family who are not witches, but trying to teach a little girl also how to use magic, and some other witches appear. But it's episodic, it's slice of life, very laid back, very comfy, and I don't know, it's just a cute show. I'm really enjoying the manga as well. So, but it's by JC's staff. Came out originally in 2016. So if you don't like, like anything like spooky horror, but you're looking for something just for like fun to watch on Halloween, try out Flying Witch. It's really adorable and cute.
And it has a great cat.
It has a great cat.
It has a great
as well.
cat.
Was it Cheeto? Is that his name?
Yes. Not to be confused with the, Anyway.
He's not an orange puffball.
Exactly. My second show is Dusk Maiden of Amnesia.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this.
Is
ages ago.
This is about a thirsty ghost who essentially hasn't been perceived in decades and forms a small paranormal like club in the high school that she kind of haunts. It's not a scary anime in the slightest. It's like 50% comedy, 40% romance, and maybe 10% like spooky mysteries. It's kind of a mix between like Toilet Bound Hanako-kun and like Kaguya-sama, except Chika can't see one of the members because not everyone can see that there's a ghost in the room, which is kind of interesting because you kind of get these two layers of comedy where there's an interaction between the ghost and people, and then the other people who can't see the ghost who are also interacting with the same people. And it's kind of cute and fun. There's a little bit of fan service and some forced and rushed story beats later on, but nonetheless, like it's a very fun romp. It takes a lot of risk with the style and it blends a lot of genres together. And it's done by director Shino Numa, who has a lot of interesting design choices in how he chooses to portray things. So a lot of like House of Five Leaves, a lot of falling red leaves, and has that mood and atmosphere. And Kyrie is the best girl, and it's a fun little thing that give a few episodes a shot, and if you like it, you'll enjoy the ride, and if not, it's not the most essential show of all time.
Yeah, I remember watching that a long time ago, but at the time I watched it, I remember enjoying most of it. I don't think I liked the ending, from what I can remember.
Is a little forced and rushed.
Yeah.
And like I said, there is some fan service in there that just makes sense because, oh, she's a ghost and she can finally interact with someone who can interact back with her, and she's like enthralled by that, so it makes sense, but nonetheless that's not quite my cup of tea. So it is a cute run for most of the ride, so it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm just kind of rolling down the list here of different types of Halloween stuff. Halloween themed anime that I'd say is more cute. Interviews with Monster Girls is pretty cute.
Oh yeah.
A very light show. This is more of like, oh, I want to watch a show that's got like, your Halloween-y type monsters in it, but it's not like really scary. It's not violent. It's just kind of like a cute little comedy, kind of school-based slice of life show that's a little different. So, and I think that there's a side story coming out soon about the dragon character, Fafnir, I think, is getting like or am I thinking of the wrong show?
That's
You're thinking
Dragon
Kobayashi.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, I read about that, so I'm getting them tangled up. But too many monsters and shows. But Interviews with Monster Girls is super cute, and I think most people liked it at least pretty well. So it'll be a good one to kind of maybe when like your 6-year-old sister's downstairs, you can watch that, and then when she goes up, you can put on like Junji Ito or something, so that she doesn't have to watch like, people's like the body horror, like the faces sloughing off and shit like that. So we don't want to have any nightmares.
I think going with the same kind of theme of cute shows that you can watch, especially with a family, like if you have kids, watch How to Raise a Mummy. It was actually really adorable. Or How to Keep a Mummy. I'm sorry. I'm not sure how they translate it. I think it's on Crunchyroll. I think I've seen it both, How to Keep and How to Raise a Mummy. The Mummy Show. It's really cute. And it's like 12 episodes. It was by 8-Bit Studio. And if you hear my cat in the background screaming, I do apologize. She's having a fit. But and it's about this boy whose father is an archaeologist, and he just brings shit home, and he ends up with this really itty bitty tiny mummy, and it's the cutest thing in the world. And he like keeps it as like a pet, and all of the a bunch of other kids that he interacts with at his school also get kind of mythological creatures. Like one has a dragon, one has a what's the dream eating yokai's name? I forgot his name.
Ooh. That's a trivia question. I'm not much for trivia.
I can't remember what the type of monster is called, but they call it Muku Muku, which is adorable. But yeah, it's a really cute show. Again, slice of life, very light and fluffy. So especially if you have kids and you're just looking for something fun with like mythological creatures, it's really cute. I had a lot of fun watching the show.
My next one is probably the most Halloween-esque one of my list. Les Portraits de Petite
Oh,
Cosette.
fuck. It's a messed up show.
This is a 3-episode OVA from 2004, and this is like a super stylish, supernatural gothic horror. Think of like an old English antique shop mixed with like Lolita vibes, with a romance that doesn't get in the way of the plenty of death and crucifixion imagery and blood that is all over this thing. And if you're like, wow, he said the word crucifixion, I wonder if Akiyuki Shinbo directed this. He did. You win the prize. This is one of the ones he did right before he joined Studio Shaft, so it is full of weird camera angles, weird reflections, and all of kind of the things that kind of developed his style. And like I said, tons and tons of blood, but nonetheless a very cool and interesting look at a brief little romance that goes south. So
yeah, you think? It's a
it's
fucked
fun
up show.
Ride. It is, and it's only 3 episodes, which is great for like one like Halloween night watch. So
I mean, it's it takes a turn. It definitely takes it. It's got a banging theme song. So, as I recall, it's been a while since I heard it, but man,
I recall too, but I'm blanking on it. I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, I recall that being a theme song I listened to on my phone for years. So definitely a good one. Wow, that's a good pick. Les Portraits de Petite Cosette is dark. So, next one just is like an autumn themed show, not really so much Halloween. An old throwback that I wish would get another installment, and I don't think I'm alone in saying that amongst like anime fans, and that's Spice and Wolf. Spice and Wolf they're always like romping around in leaf. I feel like there's so many like leaf piles. It's like if I had to like give an image for Spice and Wolf, it'd be Hodo wearing like a hood with like a little skirt, with like laying in a pile of leaves, eating an apple. Like, that's pretty much like the whole like feel of that show, and it just seems like a lot of that show seems to take place during like either the winter or the fall season. And Spice and Wolf is just great, and it's old enough at this point that many people probably haven't seen or maybe even heard of Spice and Wolf, because we're talking about something that came out like 10 years ago now at least. So maybe even longer than that. So. But deserves to be watched by a lot of people. It is really good. Hodo is a instant waifu, and a very like different sort of anime. It's mostly about like a traveling merchant who picks up Hodo along the way, and there's a lot of like bartering and negotiation and like trading, and it's got some like pretty well known light novels I think behind it. So if you like reading, you can pick that up. But Spice and Wolf might give you like the autumn feels, for sure.
I'm gonna group some of mine together for the interest of time, because I ended up putting a lot of stuff down on my list. Some of these are a little bit more obvious because we've talked about them recently. So I'll just kind of blow through those. Like Vampire Hunter D, I mentioned last episode, I believe. Or whichever episode we had where we were doing suggestions for people. I mentioned Vampire Hunter D, which is like the one that came out called, I think it was called Bloodlust, that came out in 2000. That's the one that I would recommend checking out. It's a really cool movie about vampires, obviously. Also Castlevania, we recently talked about that. Another vampire one that'd be fun to watch on Halloween. Also Parasite is pretty cool. It's it has a lot of body horror in it. It's about like aliens who are eating people, but they also disguise themselves or take over bodies. And there's a lot of body horror in that one. Also Shiki, which I don't know if we've talked about recently. But that one is also about, well, I'm gonna be honest. You should go into Shiki blind.
You really should.
I don't want to spoil anything. You should go into Shiki blind, but it has a really cool aesthetic. It does get very dark, so if you're not cool with like blood or anything, or like gore, you probably shouldn't watch Shiki. It gets pretty dark, but it is interesting though if you like horror shows. So
yeah, I my last major one I want to talk about is a bit hard to get into because you kind of have to watch 7 shows before you get to it. But Owari Monogatari, one of the later parts of the Monogatari franchise, and it's the one that takes place in the October part of the year that the series kind of revolves around, and it tells a bunch of really compelling mysteries circulating around Princess of Twin Tails, fully evolved Shinobu, the best payoff to a one-liner in Kamimashita of all time, and it has the goat Spooky Oogie herself making her appearance. So it is such a really engaging thing, and yes, it's part of a very long franchise, but nonetheless, if you've been like meaning to get to it, Owari Monogatari is my favorite part, and it's super Octobery and it's very cool. I'll just quickly mention a bunch of other ones I had on my list. The Blue Literature series that Mandi and I have talked about before is pretty cool. Kino's Journey is just sepia tone the entire way, which makes it automatically qualify for fall. And Boogie Pop Phantom is also pretty neat as well.
Yeah.
So those are some that are all, if they've been on your plan to watch list for a while, now's a good time to watch them.
I also want to throw 3 more together. I'm going to group them together because they're all shoujo series. So if you're looking for like a Halloween shoujo series to watch, there is The Wallflower, which is about a girl who loves horror stuff. She loves creepy things. She likes she talks to a like anatomical, what do you call them, like the human models,
like that you have in like science classrooms where it has the body part shown.
Yeah, just
she
like
talks to one of those. I wasn't a massive fan of the series though, because there is like this group of guys who are trying to turn her into a proper lady, which I'm not cool with, because I'm like, so what if she likes creepy horror stuff?
Let her do
That's
her
cool.
thing.
Yeah, let her do her thing. But it is a rom-com, so if you want like a shoujo comedy that has a bit of like horror stuff in there, there's that. There's also Vampire Night. Keep warning, the ending is not satisfying. At least for me. I went crazy over that ending because I watched it a long time ago, and I was probably, I don't even know, I was probably still, no, I wasn't in high school. I was probably like in college when I watched it, and I was really into it, binged the whole thing, the manga, binged it all in like one day, and I got to the ending and I was very upset. But vampires, shoujo, so you can try that one out. Also, one of my favorites, Pet Shop of Horrors. So good. But the original manga is a shoujo, so if you go into the manga, there's a lot of like there's a lot of shoujo tropes in there. But the OVA, which is available on High Dive, is 4 episodes. All of them are very creepy stories about a guy named Count D who has a pet shop, and he always recommends quote unquote pets to somebody who he feels like they probably should change their life. Like they have like some kind of particular negative quirk about them, and he's like, oh, I know just the pet for you. And it always comes with a contract, and if you go against that contract, he is not responsible for what happens. And it gets really creepy. There's a mermaid in it. That episode's really crazy.
Spoiler alert, they always go against the contract.
They always go against the contract. All of them. And I've been reading the manga as well. It's like really long. It's not super long. It's like 12 volumes long. And there's so many more stories in the manga. And I think it's funny that the OVA chose out some of the worst, like the ones that go the worst stories out of the manga. Like some of the manga ones actually have like happy endings. So I thought it was great. It's super good. Definitely check it out. It's one of my favorites.
For my part, one more scary show. If you want to get to the most truly terrifying thing that you can watch in anime, something like Lucky Star, or maybe or like K-On!
Yes.
I mean, nothing.
Ooh, I love
listen,
it.
nothing is going to permeate the deep reaches of your brain and torment you deep into the night, in your deepest sleep, more than Moe. And I just want you all to remember that it's an incredibly important lesson to learn, that you can watch all of the Devilman Crybaby in the world, but nothing will stay with you more than just Christmas cake and Moe girls. I mean, that is truly the most horrible thing. So
if you're new to the podcast, Mitsuki does not like Moe. Although sometimes he rates Moe shows actually pretty high, which I think he is. I think he's a liar. I think he actually loves Moe.
Silence, infidel!
It took you so long to find that drop too.
It did.
He was navigating into the area.
I saw him looking.
My rage will be known to all.
He's joking. He actually loves Moe series, so don't let him.
The anger, it will swell and spill into the land. Okay. And if you want to submit any resumes to the Church of Mitsugi, we need more Moe kickers. It's tough times right now, and we do have a number of job applications open because it's winter time and anime seasons are a little bit lower in volume than they have been in recent seasons. Moe doesn't sleep, okay, and so neither can we. Thank you.
Next time I go to Mitsugi's house, I'm going to edit his soundboard and replace that drop with like Hokage tea time music. So when he plays it,
you should make all of the sounds on his soundboard like the Moe kind of girl eating stuff, like
Somewhere I have that drop from Pupa of the girl eating her brother.
Oh, no, that's completely different.
yeah, Pupa's a good one. Watch that, people. If you're brave.
Get your popcorn ready. It's time for Unexplored Pictures with Mason.
We'll whip through this one quickly, but this is the segment where I talk about weird movies that no one's ever heard of, and we are continuing the theme of spooky ones, and this is the last one in the series, and this movie is called Midoriko. This is a story of whimsy and nightmare, and it tells a story about scientists who develop the perfect kind of hybrid food because there's food shortages all over this world. And essentially they create this edible creature called Midoriko, who kind of fulfills meat and vegetable substitute. It's not like that Burger King burger. It's actually nutritious, but it is a living being, and it escapes from the laboratory. And it's discovered by a university researcher, and she is raising Midoriko in her apartment, and this like battle of possession for this magical creature breaks out. And this is like simultaneously like batshit weird beyond like any modicum of normalcy. Like this is but it somehow has like meaning behind it, and it's 55 minutes long, and it's just full of unnerving, strange scenes that make you question everything that's going on, both on screen and how you ended up watching it. It is done by Keita Kurosaka, which has done some really weird stuff, but this dude spent 10 years making it single-handedly, and it's done just in colored pencil. And the sheer passion and effort he put into this thing is absurd, and the ending, like 5-minute ending sequence, is jaw-droppingly stunning. It is such a unique piece of work. If you have ever seen the movie compilation Winter Days or a certain Dare in Grey music video, you've seen his stuff before, but it's not well known online. There's really no substitute for watching this thing. No like plot summary or explanation I give you on like the meaning or the virtues will really capture what this is about. But if you are a brave soul who's kind of tired of the homogenized aesthetic we can kind of get fed in this industry, give it a shot, and you'll watch it and you'll come to me and be like, Mason, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah,
I'll be
seriously,
like, I know,
what the fuck?
right? It's so weird. I promise in the future I'll get back to recommending movies that are actually licensed and easily available, but because there is no version of this out there, I've looked, you really can't find it legally. I will say you can find it on YouTube if you just type in Midori and then a dash and then ko. And if you're like, I don't know if I want to commit a full hour to this, look up that music video that I mentioned earlier. It's called Agitated Screams of Maggots. I know.
What?
To get a sense of kind of how this movie looks. And if you want something a little more beginner friendly, check out Yutaru Kubo's works. He has all his stuff for free on YouTube, and those are a bunch of like 4 to 5 minute shorts that are very cool, and it's a fun rabbit hole to go down on YouTube, and it's also really interesting artistic styling. So check out Midoriko. It is very weird, but nonetheless very interesting. So give it a shot.
Mason's just bringing out all these fucked up anime.
I noticed.
My good God.
The joys of Halloween.
The joys of Halloween. That's what Halloween is to me. Watching some weird stuff that just make you question
Trying to
why.
scar our audience, yeah.
These aren't even, these movies aren't even like horror shows though. They're more like the Faces of Death movies. Like it's just like stuff that's so fucking beyond messed up that like people shouldn't be watching it. Like honestly, that's how the last one was, and how that traveling circus show is, like, or Mr. Adashi's Freak Show or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
these aren't even like movies. They're just like clips of shit that you'll never forget because it's so fucking deranged that, you know, it's not really, I don't know. I feel like it's not meant for people to really be watching.
It's not
but
meant for people to watch.
No,
but
it's
the
really
sheer
not. I mean,
artistry behind this dude's work is impressive enough.
I mean, the one friggin' movie is illegal. I mean, give me a damn break. Like, there's a reason. People.
In some countries.
And that's the biggest endorsement I could give for it because, of course, everybody wants to watch the fucked up stuff. All right.
You're welcome.
Yeah, of course. That's pretty much how things go. All right.
Alrighty, I guess now we are ready to go on our break, which we'll have a trivia question for you. The question is, the fall 2020 anime season is well underway, but do you know what the most watched anime is from this season? I do, because it's all I ever see people talk about on Twitter, so. But the question is, do you know? Stick around, we'll answer it after the break.
Anime Addicts, this is Mitsugi, and I'm bringing you your anime news break, starting off with some news from Shueisha. Their Manga Plus service has been launched globally, and they have been releasing a little bit of information on Twitter about which countries have been using the Manga Plus service the most frequently. The top 10 list contain Germany, Peru, Brazil, Malaysia, Spain, Philippines, Mexico, Indonesia, Thailand, and the USA in that order, with USA being number 1. Lots of Southeast Asian countries on this list, and also some major European countries such as Germany and Spain. So we'll have to see how this sort of trend in usage and manga reading via the Shueisha Manga Plus service pans out as it becomes more prevalent around the globe. Next up, a little bit of news on anime films and the Japanese box office. For those of you that are big on anime movies, the Violet Evergarden movie stayed at number 3 in its 4th weekend in the box office with about $700,000 in ticket sales, bringing its grand total to about $12 million. It opened on September 18th at number 2 in the box office, and it had been delayed since clear back in April 16th when KyoAni postponed the film due to COVID. Also in theaters, the Eiga Crayon Shinchan Gekitotsu film, Crayon Shinchan Crash, Rakuga Kingdom, and Roughly 4 Heroes dropped from number 4 to number 3 in its 5th weekend in the box office with a total ticket sales of almost $10 million. Of course, Crayon Shinchan, the movie, lots of movies in this franchise, came out on September 11th, and as it was delayed from April 24th. And then finally, the Doraemon Nobita no Shin Kyoryu, or Nobita's New Dinosaur, climbed from number 7 to number 6 in its 10th weekend, going up, bringing its total sales to $30 million US, just showing you that Doraemon is king of the Japanese theater. Next up, in a wild news story, sort of, it looks like Japanese theaters in the country of Japan is lifting COVID restrictions due to the fact that the Demon Slayer film is going to be coming out here and on October 16th to the 18th, which is, well, the weekend that we are recording this. So there have been restrictions throughout Japan for much of the COVID pandemic, where theaters were both closed and then opened with 50% capacity. But as the Demon Slayer film is coming out this weekend, it looks like they have temporarily allowed audiences to pack the theaters in full, complete with drinks sold at theaters. However, food is not allowed, and also masks must be worn. But Japan lifting restrictions for anime, which is very wild. Next up in the news, it looks like the first Haruhi Suzumiya work, the first new installment in author Nagaru Tanigawa, the Melancholia of Haruhi Suzumiya novel, the first installment in 9.5 years, is going into print in June of 2021. And also, it was revealed that the company Yen Press will be re-releasing Haruhi Suzumiya light novels under its Yen On imprint, and starting in January of 2021. So if you're a fan of Haruhi Suzumiya, Yen Press is giving it a bit of a revitalization, complete with a new work coming out in June. This was Mitsuki, and this was your anime news break. And now, as always, it's time to get back to the podcast right now. Anime Addicts, as you know, this podcast recently became independently funded, and we are attempting to continue on funding this podcast with the help of so many of our listeners without having to play annoying commercials for underwear and razors and cat food and all kinds of other things that bore you and make your listening experience not quite what it could be. And if you go over to our website, aapodcast.com/join, you can sign up. You can also do so on Patreon. And when you do, you'll get our hentai episodes, our hobby addicts, and our after parties. 8 total episodes of our podcast per month. Just for you, just for saying a little thank you for supporting the podcast, because we do appreciate it so much. You can also go to our website, aapodcast.com, simply across the top, and click the donate button. If you don't really want to sign up, you can just throw us a couple bucks, help us out. And if you don't have any money to throw our way, hey, we still love you. We hope you keep listening. We appreciate all of our listeners, and we love doing this podcast for you so much, as we have for over 11 years now. So hopefully we'll have another 11 years to come. I love you all so much. Again, if you want to help out the podcast, you can go to aapodcast.com/join or Patreon.
And now, great moments in Anime Addicts Anonymous history.
Listen, people today are spoiled as shit. I can go into my bedroom on like my Roku TV, and I'm like, which of these streaming services do I want to watch a variety of hundreds of anime from for literally almost no money at all?
Spoiled. I'm just kidding.
Do I want to watch one of 10,000 anime off of Verve, or do I want to watch one of probably 500 anime off Hulu? Fuck it. We'll just go to Funimation, and I'm just gonna like pull it up and just lay in my bed all day and watch shit. You don't know the pain of waiting for the DVDs in the mail. You don't know the pain of trying to keep track of them all and losing them. And then you don't know the pain of when you get a DVD. You're like, oh my God, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex Volume 4, the DVD. And you get it in the mail and you're holding it in your hand and you're like, I'm so excited to see what the Major is going to do next. And you pull it out and it's like fucking Those Who Hunt Elves Volume 2. Someone put the wrong disc in the wrong sleeve and there you are. Now you're watching like guys hump tanks and shit. That is not what I signed up for.
It used to happen to me all the time. I remember I tried to rent the the Street Fighter movie ages ago.
Oh my God. Welcome back to the podcast. Before we left you, we had an in-show trivia question. Oh, I traded my Monster energy drink for a pumpkin spice coffee with whipped cream. Look at that.
Ooh, very nice.
Oh yeah, and
It looks really good, actually.
Yeah, I built a coffee bar downstairs.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
In my news of what did my mom make for me during this break, I've got some nice homemade pumpkin bread with
Oh
some
my
nuts in it.
God.
So I'll be smacking on that during the manga minute. But what was the answer to the trivia question?
We're so basic, Mason.
We are. We really are. Got to get some PSLs after this.
Gotta get my basic white girl on. All right, so in the fall season, what anime is the most watched, basically, is the question. The answer is Jujutsu Kaisen is the most watched anime from fall, followed by Danmachi Season 3 and also the seemingly never-ending Haikyuu Season 200.
You know, Mitz, every time you play that Great Moments clip where you talk about Those Who Hunt Elves, it makes me want to watch that.
I don't think you'd like it.
Why should I not?
Knowing you would not like Those Who Hunt Elves.
It's not very, I don't know, there's like no story. There's
Maybe
that.
I'll watch an episode just so I can know what the heck you're talking about.
Gosh, I watched that series. I was probably in high school when I saw. I don't even think I finished it. I watched some of it though.
All right. Well,
Yikes.
now it's time for, I believe, the last spooky edition of Mandy's Manga Minute.
Mhm.
So, without further ado.
This is Mandy's Manga Minute, where I take a minute to tell you about a manga and help you find something new to read. And this whole month of October, I've been doing spooky manga that you can check out for Halloween. And this one is not going to be like my usual manga minutes, and that's because it's a collection. So recently, Junji Ito's collection, Venus and the Blind Spot, came out. And what Halloween would be, it would be incomplete without a Junji Ito manga to read.
Fair.
So this one recently came out. It has a really nice hardback and nice cover to it as well. And this came out in English, and a lot of the short stories, some of them have not been adapted into English or translated for us before. But there is one here specifically that I know for sure that has shown up in another of his collections. So some of the collections in here include Billions Alone, which is a very creepy story about a guy, about every time, gosh, it's actually kind of weird for a pandemic, but every time there's a group of people, they mysteriously go missing and are found later as corpses that are sewn together. And it's super creepy.
Fuck
and
me.
So everybody in it starts quarantining alone, trying not to get into groups, and it's very, very creepy for Halloween. There's also, he did a version of Edogawa Rampo's story, The Human Chair. That one is also in here. And also Edogawa Rampo's story, An Unearthly Love, is also in here. He also did a version of Robert Hitchens' How Love Came to Professor Kirita. And there's of course, the Enigma of Amigura Fault, which is the one, if you have ever seen it, it's about the people who find human-shaped holes in a wall that are the same shape as them. And these people are drawn to those holes and want to go inside of them.
Weird.
And they go missing. And when you find out what actually happens, it's very weird and creepy. Of course, it's Junji Ito. But this one is available for, I think it came out just in August. And I do highly recommend checking it out. Spooky month. It's if you can handle Junji Ito mangas, of course, because there's a lot of body horror. They do get really gross sometimes, and they are spooky for sure. So that is Venus in the Blind Spot, and I think going forward with manga minutes, I'm going to try to shorten them. I know they have been running really long. They're instead of a minute, they're more like the manga 5 minutes. So I am going to try shortening them later on. And I think now we're not going to do them every week, but I'm going to probably try to do one once a month. So that way I get a better selection of manga, and I can also slow down, because right now I have been buying a new manga every week for you guys. So
You see that? That's so much love.
try to space them out a bit, yeah.
Or we carrot in front of the stick. If you guys want more manga minutes, up that donation so Mandy can afford.
And on that note, you can go to aaapodcast.com/join.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. Like every manga that I do for Manga Minutes and manga clubs, I buy everything. So I don't have any special like deal with anybody.
All right.
But the Enigma of Amigar Fault is so good. It's worth
Yeah, it
buying
is,
just
yeah.
for that one, because boy,
That's the one I wasn't sure. I could have sworn it was in the back of Gyo.
I think it is.
So yeah, I have
But
noticed
how
that.
easy is it to get Gyo nowadays?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy. It came
I
out
mean,
as a
it's
hardback
Ito,
not
yeah.
too long ago.
You might be right. It's still good though. It's still so good.
It's so every Junji Ito collection comes out in such a nice hardback. They're all really good. This one doesn't have like the kind of trippy like what do you call it, where it has like
They usually have like a glossy black thing that like has a different shimmer, like
hidden
depending on your
images in it.
angle. Yeah.
This one doesn't have that. This one actually has like a paper cover to it. But look at it. It's just I don't know. These hardbacks are so
good.
nice. Yeah. Like it's really cool. Like even when you take off the paper cover to it, like it looks kind of like just a really old book. It's great. If you like Junji Ito, that is. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, let's mosey on to the mailbags. If you want to leave us a mailbag, you can do it at our website, aaapodcast.com. Make it happen.
It's time for an almighty anime mailbag. Anime.
Mailbag.
I forgot to dance. I was busy trying to figure out how to say this person's name. This mailbag comes to us from Emizakwel.
Nice job. That's good enough.
We're trying. Don't yell at me. Actually, do yell at me if I got it wrong. But they write, "Hi everyone. I've noticed that you seem to value concept over execution. That being, you like shows that innovate and expand anime as a genre. That came up especially with your review of No Game No Life, which I find to be a show that aims to be a good, trashy isekai anime, without concerning itself with trying to expand the genre. So the question is, do you think that execution holds value in a critical sense, or do you still think that anime need to try to be original to be good?"
I think execution, when done well, is extremely powerful. I mean, like, there are shows like Cowboy Bebop that really didn't do all that much in terms of being original. It's just like a bounty hunting show, you know. But the execution of it, the style, was enough that, you know, it's viewed as one of the all-time great anime. So it's amazing what you can do. You can have a bounty hunter show that's just terrible, and then have the exact same plot line, but you throw the jazzy music in, the snappy characters, the great setting of like the bebop and all the different worlds, and all of a sudden, boom, great show. It's not really, it's not all that original, but you know, but there it is.
I was gonna say, I absolutely agree, and this is gonna come up later in one of my impressions, where it's like the style is just so cool that I don't even really honestly care about what's going on in the story. I'm just having so much fun watching it, and I don't think you have to be entirely original as long as you execute your story very well. Like there are some that are like original stories that are also just fantastic. Like I love Dore Hedoro. That one was super unique, but also like we just did what was the Bofuri? That one's not even remotely unique, but I still thought it was a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, I like Bofuri a lot. It was good.
Yeah, originality is it's tough because it's so much based on the individual. Because obviously you have shows that are super original, like 18 If or like Fractal, which are super original, but like they really fail on the execution side. And just because they're original doesn't make them good. And you have shows that, you know, some people might see as original, like Psychopaths, but some people could see as, oh, I've seen this plot set up before. And you know, you have shows like Rakugo, which some people could say, oh, that's original. It's a new world and a different art form and a unique way of saying. And some people could look at that and say, no, it's just about people who talk. Like,
yeah, I agree.
So at the end of the day, like, originality is tough. And I think personally, if you find something refreshing and new, that can help something out. But at the end of the day, execution and a show's ability to express its ideas and concepts are, I think, very crucial and fundamental and should not be overlooked. And a maybe subpar show as far as quote unquote originality, if it has great execution, can definitely be a solid show. So it doesn't need 100% of either, but it certainly helps. So
Yeah, it's always going to be very subjective because like I think there's a lot of stuff in, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to bring it up again because it's my favorite show. I don't care. There's a lot of stuff in Hunter x Hunter that I'm like, yeah, this is really unique for a shonen. And some people are not really into the shonen series or shonen genre, or like, no, it's just like every other shonen out there. So it really highly depends on you, like what you like.
this is a very topical question, I think, with some of the impressions we're about to jump into.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So with that, let's get this show on the road. So this is round 2 of our fall impressions.
Today, we're going to be doing impressions.
Impression time, believe it.
Yeah, I won't let it die.
And just a reminder on how this will work, each of us get 2 passes or locks, and the other 3 shows you, the listener, will vote on. So the only show so far from round 1 that got passed was Mitsugi passing Dragon Quest, Dai's Big Adventure, something like that. So we still have 5 locks on the table. And we got 6 shows for you today, and I think Mandi will kick us off.
Yeah, so my first one is Akudama Drive. I do apologize. I think before I was calling it Akudama Dive. Mason and I talked about this before the show. I was like, oops, it's actually Drive. So I apologize. I screw stuff up all the time. Just, my mind's all over the place.
Roll with it, people. You know what she means.
I also, last episode, I kept calling the thing in Inuyasha the caterpillar woman. I definitely meant centipede. I apologize. I do that.
It's pretty close. I mean, they're similar.
It's a bug. A lot of legs. Anyways,
Arthropods or some shit.
Yeah, Akudama Drive by Studio. Is it Pura? I never.
I call it Puro.
Parrot.
Puro.
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, thank you. It is also streaming on Funimation and Hulu. And this series, if you remember my impression, or not, my pick, when I went to the pick and I watched the PV for it, I was like, this looks like a lot of fun, but I have no idea what it's going to actually be about. It's in this dystopian, futuristic Japan, like the Kansai region, and it has a very cyberpunk feel to it, to the world. It's a lot of bright neon lights. The city is I really like how the city is done, because it just looks packed. It's big. And in this future, there's this criminal group called the Akudama, and all of them have very large bounties on them, and each of them have a very specific type of crime that they commit. And the Akudama are given a mission to rescue from the future public execution someone just known as the Swindler, who has the highest bounty out of all of them. And there's this girl who I don't believe we have been given a name for. I don't think she has a name yet. I think she's just called the normal one, from what I remember.
The normie.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Just this young, I think I don't know if she's a teenager, but she's pretty young. Girl is trying to buy something at a cart, but ends up not having the kind of currency that she needs to buy something. And the person who she's trying to buy from gets really upset and just calls the cops on her, and she gets arrested. And she's taken back to the police station. And this is at the exact same time when the Akudama are attacking the station where the Swindler is about to be executed. And in the chaos that happens, this girl ends up running into them and tries to pass herself off as the swindler so that she doesn't get killed by them. So she's like, no, I'm the swindler. You're gonna rescue me, right? So she ends up getting grouped up with them. She's trying to find a way to get out of the situation, but then it turns out that this like robotic cat kind of brought them all together, and they end up with these like explosive collars on their neck, and they're like, and the cat gives them a new mission that you have to go to the Shinkansen and steal whatever's in the cargo, and they have to work together to do this. And so they all have like their own unique kind of abilities to them. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, this show is all style. I'm having so much fun watching it. I think it looks so much fun. Like, the color palette is constantly changing between each scene. I love the action in it as well. I love all of the like their character designs look great, and I don't know, I just think visually it's a lot of fun to watch. And the action is stupid and over the top, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I don't know. I have no idea how it's going to progress. Like, I don't know how she is going like to develop, like our main character, or how anybody else is going to change. Like, out of like all of the other criminals in the group, like there is the like they're all very different. There's like this big guy who's just like a brawler who just punches things. He's super strong and he's a huge guy. And there's like the doctor who can do all kinds of crazy surgery and stuff. And they all have like a very psychopathic side to them. And it's pure chaos, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So for me, I want to lock this in because I'm having fun with it. I think out of all my shows, this is the one I'm having the most fun watching. This and just making fun of Yashahime.
And this is Akudama Drive.
Yes, yeah. So I'm locking this one in for myself.
Yay!
There. Lock it up.
Locked up. Good. Now I don't have to waste one of my locks on it, because, yeah, it is
You're
chaos.
going to steal it?
I mean, it's not a steal, but I thought it was pretty fun so far.
Yeah.
So we'll see how well the animation holds up over an entire season, but
especially with COVID going on, we'll see.
Yeah, but nonetheless, it is fun. So my first show I'll be talking about today is Kuma Bear, and in case you don't know, Kuma in Japanese is bear, so it's essentially 4 bears, and this is a story of a girl named Yuna who essentially plays her virtual MMO game all day, every day. She loves it, and she kind of maxes out her level, and as a gift for doing so, the developer of the game gives her a special gift, and that gift is a one-of-a-kind bear Kigurumi outfit that, when she puts it in her inventory, essentially transports her into the game. She can no longer leave. It is an isekai, surprise, surprise, and she has to kind of start the game over from level 1 and is locked into wearing this bear outfit, and it is very adorable. And it is based on a light novel. It's done by Studio EMT Squared, and the show looks very good, which isn't surprising considering, despite the flaws with it, I thought Kumamiko and Urahara looked pretty interesting and cool. The fight scenes in the show are very fluid, and a lot of the environments have this dotted like texture to them that is a very nice touch. And the bear Kugurumi looks a billion times better than the one in Gleipnir, and she can actually reverse it inside out for sleeping, which doesn't do anything for the plot, but is adorable, and I do like it, and it's a nice touch. The show sounds really good. It's got Maki Kawase voicing Yuna, and for like an isekai protagonist, she is like calm. She has this intelligent demeanor to him, and it kind of keeps the show from being too cutesy. She's very like reasonable in how she acts, like crucial to a good show, but nonetheless, she takes this world as if one of us who has seen isekais gets transported, and she kind of like evaluates the situation. She understands what's going on. She's very forgiving of the situation, and it's overall, her character is very refreshing in this kind of genre. Like Talentless Nana, which I talked about last week, this show is better than I expected at face value. But at the end of the day, this is an isekai with probably the least interesting gimmick of all time, which is she just is wearing a cute costume. And that's about it. I thought the first episode, she fights a giant snake. It's all right. Episode 2 actually takes a step back in time to kind of show how she originally got here. She gets trapped. She joins the guild, goes goblin hunting in episode 3. It's kind of the basic story beats. And this show it's breezy. It's easy to watch. It's got fun adventuring. But unless it has like a big twist or shift in approach, like, unfortunately, I think it's going to be forgotten when the season ends. So I will not be locking it up. And there's a lot of other shows like Tonikawa or Dog and Cat that I think listeners should check out for the voting more than this one. So it's not a bad show, but it's fine at best. And I will see if the listeners like it enough to pass it. But I doubt that's the case.
Before we move on, I want to make a quick edit because before people call me out on it, because they already did in chat. They were trying to free the cutthroat. I'm sorry, they weren't trying to free the swindler. So I messed that up. Got them mixed up. I apologize.
Come on, Mandi.
There's so many characters and chaos going on that it's very forgivable. So
there's a lot of characters in the show.
All right. So I think I'm up, right? So Strike Witches. Road to Berlin. So I haven't really watched Strike Witches before, and but I get the concept of it. I feel like I did an impression maybe on a Strike Witch show before though. But Strike Witches, I guess this is season 3, done by David Production, so of JoJo fame, more or less. It's starts off with there's these monsters called the New Roy, I guess. And I don't know what their deal is because I don't know shit about Strike Witches, but they're like almost like these machine-esque sort of monsters that are just trying to destroy humanity, I guess, is kind of how I'd put it. It's almost like the noise from Symphogear, or maybe like the robots from that video game that I can't think of the name of with Aloy, whatever the hell that freaking game was called.
Oh,
I'm
Wild.
old.
No,
I'm freaking old.
I'm thinking of the DLC, Wild Hunt. Oh my goodness.
No, Wild Hunt is the Witcher 3.
Yes. Oh my, Frozen Wild.
No, Horizon Zero Dawn. Thank you, Mitsuki. So, yeah, I'm just old. So, anyway, this show starts off, and I'm expecting, like, panty shots everywhere, right? Because that's what Strike Witches is, I guess. I think this show even got, like, in trouble back in the day, like, years ago with season 1, because it was like, oh my god, not panty shots. How do we survive in this world with a show with panty shots in it? But, episode 1 didn't really have panty shots in it. I was like, this is weird. What is happening? Basically, there's this girl who... I don't know any of the characters in this show, and honestly, I'm not going to be able to remember shit for their names, but I think the one girl's name is Mia Fuji, and she's pretty much the only character in the first episode, and they're just kind of getting back to the story, and this 501st Division of, like, fighter girls that kind of, like, put these, like, jet engines on their legs, and they can, like, fly around and shoot machine guns at the New Roy. I guess they're, like, useful because they're highly mobile, so, like, they can fight in ways that, like a jet couldn't, because a jet is, like, they're slow in terms of, like, how fast they can turn around, and they're not as agile as these, like, girls are. And so this, like, New Roy comes out of an iceberg, and it's attacking this like battle cruiser that's in the ocean, and this girl Mia Fuji goes out to, like, help it, and but, like, it's kind of like a spare of the moment sort of thing because they weren't expecting the attack. It was kind of a sneak attack, and the little jet engine things on her legs that she's got to use are kind of, like, partially damaged. And so, like, it's just like this battle scene goes on, and like, the action in the show is actually, like, pretty good. Like, it's definitely one of the better looking shows I've got this season. Maybe that's just David Production, being good. But after the first episode, I was like, okay, like, all right, I can roll with this. It's kind of, cutesy, but, like, the action scenes are badass as shit, and, I can roll with it. And then the second episode started, and Mia Fuji's, like, kind of losing because her equipment doesn't work, and all the other girls come in, and there's, like, a ton of them, like, a lot of girls, like, probably at least a dozen others, and, like, it's just panty shots everywhere. There's, like just vaginas being pressed through, like, panties, and they're, like, little girls, and it's like, it's ridiculous. Like, they're like, it's like, how long is this animator gonna take to detail, like, the outline of her, like, panties? You know what I'm getting at. It's, like, crazy. And they just go out of their way to, like, fly the camera, like, right up their pants. And I was like, damn, we like turned on a dime. It went from like this like sci-fi show with like pretty cool like action to like just sit. No, you know what? Edit Mitsugi, edit self, back up 2 steps. Just tons of panty shots as I completely just sidestep the foulness that was about to leave my mouth.
Probably for the best.
They're like, because they're like 8-year-old like dog girls and shit. So, but we'll save it for a hentai episode. But
Let's not.
and like I don't know, they just go out of like their way. Like in the 3rd episode, there's a scene where like a new girl shows up at school and she's clumsy, so she like trips and falls in front of the class and like lands flat on her like chest, and so like her legs are like straight up in the air but like out to the side, and it's just like her skirt like goes up to like where her shoulders are because she's basically like resting on her shoulders, and it's just like nothing but her ass, and then it's just like ass jokes for like 2 whole minutes. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And so, you know, I thought Strike Witches might have been a thing I could watch after the 1st episode, but then episode 2 and 3 were just way too dumb. And then we launch into like the tropes of like, oh, Miyafuji lost her power. How is she gonna find her power again? Like, you know, which was done probably not even the first time. Clear back at like Kiki's delivery service, where Kiki lost her power, and then she'll, you know, she's gonna find her power again somehow when like her friends need her the most or some bullshit. So yeah, not really gonna lock in Strike Witches. You know, it's actually not like the worst thing on earth, and I think there's probably an audience for this, but it's just not the action, the serious, like it's not even like I was looking for a serious show. I was just hoping that it would be a little less overt in the fact that the show's really just about panties and it's not really about like anything else. So no, I'm not gonna lock it in, but I'm sure there's an audience somewhere for this. So
I mean, if you want the girls with the jets, you go watch Warlords of Sigurd Driffa. That's going on this season. That's that's jet girls. That's kind of cool. Way less fan service.
Moving on.
Oh boy. Okay, so my next one is Wandering Witch, which I did a manga minute on a while ago. And the adaptation is being done by C2C, streaming on Crunchyroll. The original is a light novel, but I did do the manga, which is based off of the light novel, and for a manga minute. And the anime, I'm not sure. I'm going to assume it's just doing the light novel, but I don't know. But I haven't read the light novel, so I don't know what order the stories are in that. But yeah, if you remember my manga minute for Wandering Witch, I also really struggled with the first volume of that, because I was like, there are certain chapters that I absolutely love, and they feel really charming and delightful. But then there are some random chapters in there that just feel off. Like, I feel like they just kind of threw in a dark story, but doesn't really resolve anything. And I really struggled with the first volume. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to continue this, but I did the manga minute just, you know, to put it out there because there might be somebody out there who would enjoy it, and because the anime was announced. So Wandering Witch is just what it sounds like. There is a girl named Elena who becomes a witch in the very first episode, and that's the entire show is about her traveling around. It's very episodic. Each episode is her going to a different place to try. I was gonna say tries to solve things with magic, but she doesn't.
Does she try to solve things? Period.
No. So
debatable.
The first episode is just wonderful and delightful, and I think because a lot of people are comparing this to Kino's Journey, and I absolutely do see that, because it is episodic with her running into different kinds of situations. And like the first one, I thought did really well. We had a really good lesson at the end of it, where she meets, she wants to be able to pass her magic test. And so she goes to a witch to try and get her to teach her some magic. And apparently she had already passed school with just perfect scores. But after she meets this other witch, she just constantly gives her chores, which has absolutely nothing to do with magic at all. Like, make my food, do this and do this and do this, and like really working her to death. And finally, Elena's like, if you're not gonna teach me magic, I'm gonna leave. And they had some really good action scenes in there as well, where she has to end up in a magic fight against this teacher who's like, okay, I guess I'll teach you magic now. But the moral of the story of that whole first episode was that what this woman was trying to teach Elena is that not to just accept things and in silence, that it's okay to to complain, and if there's something that you don't like, you should learn how to speak up, and also just there's always room to learn, not to get too cocky, because yes, you did pass magic school perfect scores, but there's always a place to learn things. And it was wonderful. I thought the first episode was so fantastic. And the second episode was very slice of life. She meets another witch who wants Elena to teach her how to do some magic and help her pass her magic test because she's been failing it. And at the end of that, she meets a friend. Not really a lesson to learn, but it was still just a very delightful, fluffy episode. Then came the third episode, which is the one that I knew was going to do this.
This is a bummer.
Oh boy! Did you? So you watched it?
No, but this was like a must-watch show. Like after episode 1, this was like anime of the season, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
yeah, absolutely agree. And I knew this was going to happen because I had read the manga, and I knew this chapter was in there. But it's so funny because it's even worse than what I was expecting. Because in the manga, the chapter that I was worried about is that it has a very Kino's Journey vibe to it. I thought, okay, maybe they can adapt it differently and it will be good. And it was the chapter about this cursed flower field. I thought, oh, that's really cool. The manga, of course, had some stuff in there that I wasn't a fan of. There's a lot of heavy emphasis on incest in there that I was like, okay. And then at the end, no lesson was learned. She just kind of moves on. I was like, okay, that was really weird. It doesn't feel like it fits the theme of the show or the manga at all. Even worse than the show. So the anime decided to adapt 2 stories side by side. The second half is not in the first volume of the manga. Apparently it's in the light novel. So I don't know. I didn't know anything about that. That was new. And they kind of just completely condensed the Cursed Flower Field one into half of the episode, and they cut a whole bunch of stuff out. And it even made even less sense now, with taking all of like the weird like incest brother kind of just abusing his sister part out of it. And it seemed really weird because Elena, encounters a very weird situation with this cursed flower field that is drawing people into it and kind of turning them into zombies. And she even kind of causes it because they're like, the rule of this city is not to bring the flowers into the city. And she does, and she doesn't do anything, just leaves. Like, okay, that was weird. Let's move on. I was like, okay, it's weird. They condensed the whole thing. Second half was even worse, where the second half is she goes to a random house with a boy who is collecting, I think it was a jar, collecting happiness. And she kind of ties it into a storybook that she used to read before when she was wanting to become a witch.
He's collecting happiness in a jar?
What was it? Was like it has memories in it.
Is it like peanut butter or something? I mean, because that's what makes me happy.
That would have been so much better. But anyways, his father is the village lead of this town, just the village, the leader of the village. And so he brings her back, and they have a servant there, and she's taking care of them. And you kind of learn that the boy is in love with the servants and wants to eventually marry her. And then comes the village lead, and he is not a good person. First of all, he's like giving Elena sexy eyes, like looking her up and down. Like, you can tell this guy's a dirtbag. And then you find out that the servant isn't actually a servant. She's a slave that he bought from some other country and brought her back because she's going to be a real beauty when she grows up. I was like, okay. And then you find out that he's been abusing her. Probably more ways than one. That's what it implies. But the boy wants to marry her, and eventually collects this happiness stuff for her, and so she can to try and cheer her up because she can't go anywhere. And then Elena's like, that was weird, and just leaves. I'm like, what did we learn from this whole story?
Just nopes out of there.
What was the point of it? Like, there is a moment where you can tell Elena wants to interfere, but chooses not to. And she doesn't even say anything. She doesn't like have any kind of internal struggle to let us know that what she is, how she's thinking about the situation. We don't learn anything from it, which is not anything like Kino's journey. I feel like Kino's journey, every episode, even with the dark episodes, had we learned something about Kino. We learned something about just the, like, everything has a really nice resolution at the end of it. We were like, that was really, gave me something to think about and to reflect on. She doesn't reflect on the situation, except the only thing she can remember is, like, when she's flying away is kind of like remembers the storybook version. Like, oh yeah, the story where this girl or this woman couldn't leave her bed, and the man that loves her brings her back that kind of this like visions in like this jar that will show her like visions of like all of the scenes that he has seen. But she gets really depressed and kills herself.
Oh, okay.
And she starts thinking about that, like, oh, but I do remember the end of the story. I'm like, okay, so are you implying that like this slave girl who's being abused is going to eventually just kill hers? I don't know. Honestly, I was not a fan. And then like even the 4th episode was better, but still she doesn't do anything. She kind of like, I know she's playing the part of the observer, but I don't feel like she is changing anything like about her character. And I feel oftentimes she starts shit and then just leaves. So I'm not a fan. It's really difficult because I thought it was going to be fantastic from episode 1, and I've been just sorely disappointed in it. And I don't know if I want it to be one of my locks, because there are other shows that I'm enjoying. Like, I think honestly, I'd rather just goof off on Yashahime than So no, I'm not gonna lock it, but the fans might bring it back, and that's fine. Like, I'm not saying that it like it's not offensive or anything. Like, I just didn't care about it. Every episode, I'm like, well, I guess that was that. I'm just not a fan. But yeah, that's Wondering Witch. If you want to watch it, it's on Crunchyroll. No, yes, Crunchyroll. Sorry. No, is it Funimation?
Who knows? Somewhere.
Let's go to the internet.
On one of the 63 streaming
of the
services. Then when you add them.
Funimation, Hulu.
I do apologize. Maybe I got my shows mixed up. Maybe Akudama, is that on Crunchyroll? I don't know.
Well, I don't think I mentioned that Kuma is on Funimation and Hulu.
Okay, no, they're both on Funimation. I do apologize. I mistyped that.
So my show, and I think the last one we're going to do today in this mindset of time, is Jujutsu Kaisen. This is streaming on Crunchyroll, and it is done by Studio Mappa. And shonen anime are like chocolate chip cookies. They are pretty much all made with the same ingredients. They're wildly popular. There's most people's first experience and what they kind of grew up on. There's never a short supply on them. And some people will just consume them because they are comfortable and they trust the contents. Even when they're a little stale or burnt, or their chip budget ran out and it's 90% filler cookie, or the cookie screamed at you all the time, people just love shonen shows. So how does Jujutsu Kaisen, the big shonen of the season, we talked about how it's the most watched show going on right now, how does it differentiate itself? It's a little bit spookier than your average fare. It's a little Bleach inspired, but it's not really special. It's not super original in how it's done, but as the Mailbag talked about earlier, the execution is very solid. This cookie is cooked just right. It's melty and chewy on the inside, but just enough of a crisp to hold it together. So it tells the story of Yuji Itadori. He's a high schooler with immense physical strength, and everyone is trying to recruit him for all these physical athletic clubs, but he just loves being with his pals in the occult club. And one day that club gets their hands on a cursed sealed object. A bunch of evil erupts from it, and essentially, in the course of the happenings, Itadori essentially takes that evil within himself, and because of his strength and his mental fortitude, has the ability to control it to some degree. And this ability to be a vessel for evil spirits kind of gets noticed by this society of sorcerers, or called Jujutsu, and decides to use him to help their cause, and they recruit him to travel around Japan and kind of collect the rest of the evil from this source as they go out on their adventure. I think Mandi talked about this in her Manga Minute, episode 542. I think she read volume 1 and was
Kirby.
like, yeah, he is Kirby. He eats them up. It's very interesting that they have a clear goal. They need to get 20 items, of which they've already gotten 2 by the end of these first batch of episodes. So hopefully that means this is not going to be a 100+ episode odyssey, but maybe something with a quicker pace. The show looks absolutely killer, from the serious moments to the comedy moments. It plays off each other really well. The monsters look really gnarly, and the action is super impactful. Only thing I don't like is the hair design of some of the characters, but I can manage it. It's what it is. They have a nice shonen power level of the way that like by consuming the demon elements, it makes him stronger, so we can see his general progress. That makes sense. So hopefully we're not going to get these super long like training arcs, because you don't really need to train. You just need to get the demon. Like, that's how you get strong.
You just eat them.
Yeah, you just consume them. And I don't know why there's like different grade levels of the like powers of the demons. We're already at the highest level. I don't know why we started at maximum demon level on episode 3. Like, you think they would have built up to it. So once again, hopefully this means it's not going to run for absurdly long. The characters, honestly, they're nothing new, but they are nonetheless enjoyable, particularly the 3 members of the club. It's funny, if you've ever seen Naruto, this is the exact same dynamics. You have
I think
Sasuke,
I said the exact same thing.
Sasuke the edgelord, you have Kakashi the teacher with his like eyes covered, Sakura appears. Okay, to be fair, her version in this show is amazing. I love her. And the big difference is Itadori, like the Kuma show, where that protagonist is really refreshing. I really like Itadori. He's very likable. He's very joking. He's a very much of the shonen good boy, but he feels less manufactured in the process and a bit more homemade. Like, it's got a parkour panda in the OP, and I'm waiting for that. It's
what?
Same, actually.
The show doesn't look as refined as Demon Slayer, but I find the characters immensely more likable and engaging. And I'm getting some Parasite and Chainsaw Man vibes, but maybe more combat focused, not as cerebral. But nonetheless, this show is just hitting the right marks. It's nothing new, but it's been very solid so far. Honestly, I could leave this alone, and I know the listeners would pass it. But just to inject some chaos into the voting system and to see how the cookie crumbles, and because I know if Enzo was here, he would pass the show just because of the ending. I will do the same. I'm gonna lock Jujutsu Kaisen for review, and we'll be reviewing it down the road. I like how Mandi kind of did that, like the most like grating laugh of all time.
Yeah, what the hell was that, by the way?
No!
Oh, is that what that is?
I don't know. I have.
It's a scene from Top Gun where they like lock onto it, and he goes locked.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I think I said the exact same things in my Manga Minute. I was like, it's not really doing anything new. It feels like it's just kind of taking all these shonen series and pushing them together. There's a little bit of Parasite in there. There's a little bit of Naruto in there.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen them all before, and I think I remember saying that, like, I had no desire to continue reading the manga, but I would definitely check out the animes. So I think having it being animated is far more enjoyable, especially if it has like good action in it. So
I think your manga impression kind of like lowered my impressions a bit, and not that you said anything wrong, but I think Mappa is just delivering such a good adaptation that it's maybe filling up the lackluster sameness of the genre with just that little special something to give it an engaging watch. And
I think
it's been fun.
I think I had the exact same thing with Demon Slayer as well. I was like, I read the manga for Manga Minute. I was like, ugh, I don't know, not for me. And then the anime was great, but that's like 90% UFO table.
Pretty much. So with that, we are halfway through our impressions for the year. We got 2 more episodes of them. Mitz has used one of his locks on Dragon Quest. Mandi has used one of her locks on Akudama Drive. And I just used my first lock on Jujutsu Kaisen. So we have 3 locks to go. And of course, you guys, the listeners, will vote at the end of the sessions for the final 3 shows. So stay tuned. as always, you can follow us on our social media accounts. The main one is Twitter. The podcast is at AAA Podcast. Big surprise. Mitz, where can the folks find you?
At Pope Mitsugi. Thank
Mandy?
you.
I'm on Twitter as Mandy X Mandy.
And you can find me at Macy Pacey. Don't forget to check out Facebook. Don't forget to join that Discord. It's where all the cool people are. We
Oh, yeah.
have so many cool events going on. We just had a blast watching a movie, A Wild Zero. It was the sweetest thing ever. It was big vibe. We've got Anime Club November 4th. We're going to be watching my favorite show of all time, The Tatami Galaxy. Big hype.
Aw.
Hopefully you guys dig it. So that'll be at 10 p.m. EDT, and you can watch that show on Funimation.
Manga Club is this Wednesday, October 28th at 10 p.m. EDT on the Discord. And we are doing our second October Spooky Manga club session. So we will be discussing the first volume of PTSD Radio, the first volume of Corpse Delivery Service, and the first volume of I don't even know how to say it. It's like Maruko. It's, if you want to know how to spell it, if you go to our Discord in the Manga Club channel, there's a pin note there that will give you all the details on everything that we are reading, and it'll be super laid back discussion. So come join us; it'll be fun.
Yes, it will. And I think that'll do it for the episode. Don't forget to check us out at aapodcast.com. Subscribe for all those bonus contents. We're about to record a hentai episode, iTunes reviews. We appreciate it. And thanks for joining. We'll see you next time for the Fall Impressions Round 3. And thanks for those who joined us live. And that will do it for us. And just have a great life, a great week, and a great day.
Bye, guys.
See you later.
Have a good one.